Hi, everybody. Thank you, Jen, for inviting me to this Sustainability Beauty e-Summit. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and we need more things like this because we need to talk about sustainability. We need to become more sustainable, and we need to understand what it means. So thank you for organizing this. So I am Eva Lagarde, the founder of Resources, which is a platform dedicated to helping beauty brands become more sustainable. And today I'm going to talk to you about communicating sustainability, meaning then how to make sure that whatever you communicate regarding your brand is good and doesn't do any greenwashing. I didn't want to say clean because I think clean is a no word. It's like doesn't mean anything. But yes, how to become more sustainable. So the idea of this topic today is to talk about communicating beauty and sustainability because there's an increasing regulatory attention on sustainability related claims, and companies are really scared or like fearful about what they should do, what they should say, and sometimes they don't even know. So it's more important than ever for brands to understand what they can and should not say and why they should how they should talk about sustainability. So how can brand best communicate about sustainability? Just to give you a quick intro, I am the founder of Resources, which is a platform dedicated to sustainability and beauty. And I help marketers and beauty marketers understand sustainability because it's really hard to know what to do. And you know that the beauty marketers are the people that would be doing the what's the word? They would developing product for beauty, and so they know what they should do or the way they should look for in terms of sustainability. And that's why I'm addressing this content to them, because they are the one putting product on the market, and they are the one who have the most pressure on messaging and on marketing. So you can look it up online. You can scan the QR code here, and you end up onto the website, and you will know what I'm doing. But basically, it's an online content platform where you can become a member and have access to all of the report that we do about sustainability, product development, marketing, etc. Have a look and let us know what you think. Anyway, so to keep going, today I want to talk to you to give you an overview of the market with consumer expectations, because it's interesting to talk about claims, but it's interesting to understand what people are looking for when it comes to sustainability, what type of messaging they are sensible to. Then we're going to talk about what is greenwashing, and at the end about the green claims and the definition of what cosmetic green claims are, and the recommendation and conclusion that we give you, the key takeaways that we would like to give you with this presentation. So consumer expectation when it comes to sustainability. What does sustainability mean to consumer after the pandemic, because things have changed, that people are more and more sensitive than they were before. What are the new desires and priorities when considering beauty and sustainability? And then what are shoppers' motivation or even roadblocks to sustainability? Why people say they want to be sustainable, but actually not doing anything sustainable in their lives. So how can we change that? How can we be more aware of this as a brand and help them understand that? And at the end of this report, I talk about the 10 sustainable beauty trends. This is just the extract of the report. So all of this introduction here, you see, this is what you're going to have available on the report that will be released in 2 weeks' time on the platform. So then you will have all the information that you need about sustainability and product development. So to keep going on this, so the five we have identified 5 macro trends. And here is the first trend that I think, not the first trend, but one of the main trends that we need to be aware of is the social responsibility. Consumers, as we know, are saying that 96% of consumers now expect businesses to help solve global climate and social justice issues. It's not enough to reduce your carbon impact. You need to make sure that whatever you do socially, with your workers, with the suppliers, with everybody you are working with and is involved in your business, that you are treating them fairly, appropriately, and you're doing everything you need to do. Then 80% of consumers believe that climate and environmental issues are inextricably linked with poverty, inequality, and social justice. I don't know if you know, but in the triple bottom line, when we talk about sustainable business, we talk about people, profit, and planet. And people is in this, and then anything you do with your business, you need to consider the people. So what are you doing to make sure that your people, or the people that are touched by your business, are impacted fairly or equally, in the way you do your business? 71% of consumers also say that brand makes strong commitment to equality and social justice can sway their purchase decisions. Meaning that today, if you do something that is good for the people, good for socially, then maybe chances are that you will gain new consumers and you will get new interest about your brand, and people might be surprised by the actions that you're doing and might be interested in working with your brand if they didn't buy your products before. As an example, I want to talk about the Keep the Grey campaign from Dove that was happening in summer 2022. Basically, there was this journalist in Canada. I don't know if you know of her, but she was made redundant because she had grey hair. She didn't. She refused to keep dyeing her hair, and Dove decided to take on the social media with a Keep the Grey hashtag and keep the conversation going about this topic and asking people, whether they agree with this statement or what they should do. And I think it was really interesting in this case because for Dove, they've been involved in social and open campaign about beauty and reforming the beauty standards and changing the way we see our bodies and what it means to be beautiful and the pressure for girls as well, like as they feel to look beautiful. So it's in line with the brand ethos already, because Dove was already talking in the past and has been doing this for at least 10 years, taking a stance about beauty standards and everything else, then it made sense for them to be involved in that discussion, and it didn't look opportunistic. But if he was coming out of the blue without any reference to anything previously made by the brand, then it would have been sounded like a greenwashing statement if it wasn't coming from a place where the brand has already acted before in a social sphere. So you need to be wary of this. Is it in line with your brand purpose or with your brand identity? Does it match with what you're doing in the past, what you're doing right now, what you've done in the past? Is it really working well together? Another example is this the Everybody campaign that was launched by the Se beauty brand. And they picked on the color green, which was the representation of the bandanas of the protesters that were protesting to protect women's reproductive rights. And the idea here it was to develop one product or to pick one product of the range and to change it over to the green packaging. So all the brand played the game. And you know how important it is for a brand to have the brand design and their brand design respected and the guidelines to be specific to their brands. They all switched to this green color and then decided to talk about and to support women. So this was interesting as well because all of the proceeds here were given away to a charity, which means the impact, like the involvement of the beauty brand and the fact that they were going all the way to found and defend this cause. Consumer attitudes to sustainability. Are consumers really sustainable? When it comes to sustainability, they are really ethically driven as well. So in line with what we just said, we find that 9 in 10 shoppers believe sustainability and other ethics-related considerations are important. I know it's really complex, but you must know that now you have to look at the product in this entirety, meaning all the workers and the people involved in your product making, and make sure that everything you buy or you do is ethical. 1/3 of consumers report having stopped purchasing brands over sustainability and ethics concern. I don't want to quote any campaigns here or anything that's been happening in the summer 2022, but or even lately in the end of 2022. But some brands in the fashion industry have been receiving really bad press because of a decision they made in their campaigns, and they need to be really wary of this because it's not enough to be fashion. You have to make sure that whatever you do, you respect people. And any kind of people, so it's really important to be super ethical in your business. 44% of 18 to 36-year-olds say that sustainability and ethics-related consideration are very important when buying beauty and wellness product. Because we are in a wellness fair, we're not just talking about a necessity product like water or like salt or like some product that we need because it's cosmetic. We need to make sure we need to be even more careful on the fact that whatever we do is ethical and in line with the business. Again, don't take this opportunity as an opportunistic moment, but just make sure that whatever you do is in line with your business and your brand ethos. Is there any barrier to buying a sustainable beauty product? As you know, there are a lot because people tend to find like convenience, for instance, being super important. But again, to go back onto the ethical side, the lack of trust. 50% of Chinese consumers was distrustful of corporate sustainable claims. It's not just Chinese, but I think most people are quite distrustful about the corporate claims. And 94% of UK consumers think that brands need to be more transparent about their sustainability credentials. So meaning you need to explain what you do by sustainability. It's not enough to say we are sustainable, we have done this and that. You need to be very specific, and we're gonna talk about this a bit later in the claims and the what to do. You need to explain exactly what you do, and even telling the companies or like the consumers, that we try to do like fully recycled packaging, for instance, in all of our range. Today, sourcing recycled material is really complex on the market because everybody is asking for this, and the pipeline or the entire supply chain is not organized for this. So our purpose is within, 2 years to do 30%, 5 years to do 50%, and hopefully by 10 years we'll do 90%. I don't know, something like this, but give them like an outlook of what you're doing right now and where you are going, where you are heading in terms of your sustainability. Be very transparent and explaining what you're doing. Because also 68% of global respondents say that it is more important for them to be able to trust all the brands they buy from today than in the past. So they are really looking at what you're doing, and they're searching on social media, searching on your website and everything to know what you're actually doing in terms of sustainability. So they will be asking questions and looking around, as you know already. So are you doing any greenwashing? And how to prevent you from doing this? How can we support you in this? So the definition of greenwashing, according to the UN, is an attempt to mislead consumer and to market products more environmentally friendly than they actually are. Meaning that you exaggerate, exaggeration, misrepresentation, a claim that cannot be verified is irrelevant or simply false. Let's say that you reduce your carbon impact into your formula and your packaging, and then you say that, thanks to this, we are helping polar bears and we are saving polar bears. Are you really? Because this is a bit far-fetched and it's a bit too long, and we can't really trust that this is going to be happening. Maybe you are, maybe because you've developed specific actions in the North Pole or in that front. But unless you explain that you've already actually specific done a campaign, then it doesn't matter that you can say that, because it doesn't really, you need to prove what you say. And then greenwashing is also where green relates to environmental claims, but is also used in the context of social and ethical product information. Be careful of what you do and how you use your words, and how you talk about ethics and social responsibility as well, so that you don't take, you don't take opportunistic actions, and you are really doing what you say you are doing. Misleading claims you shouldn't be using, and why? These are a few claims that I think that we shouldn't be using because they are too simplistic or sometimes too black or white. There's no, sustainability is more like in the gray scale. There's nothing that is a silver bullet. There's no simple answer. It's more in the gray scale, and we need to give a bit more nuance to our discourse and to be able to help consumers have a bit more nuance. Today we are in a very black or white system, meaning that this is right or this is wrong. It's not like that. It's a bit more complex. That's why I wouldn't recommend to do zero waste claim, because zero waste is very, or like zero plastic or like no plastic, whatever, because all of these claims are very limitative, in a sense that it's probably not possible in the long run. Zero waste, let's say that you say your brand is zero waste. Technically, even if you reuse this product, let's say like I've got this product in my hands, because I can refill this, I can reuse it as much as I want. Okay, technically, people don't want to be putting it in the bin. But to make the formula inside, I've spent some energy, I've used some water. So all of this is not zero waste, because everything that is done here in this product uses any sort of energy. So you can't really claim that this is zero waste completely. You need to be wary of this. And for zero plastic, for instance, let's say that today you do only solid formula, and tomorrow you want to launch like a gel or an oil or something for the face. How are you going to put an oil in a packaging that doesn't create any waste? Tell me. I don't know any solution today. Unless you use plastic or glass or something else, then you won't be able to protect this oil formula. So zero plastic. Be wary of this as well, because even though it's possible today for your brand, will it be possible still tomorrow? So you don't know. Eco-friendly, greener, sustainable packaging, all of these type of claim, because they're very broad, very generic, don't explain anything very specifically. I don't think you should make them, because there are you greener, but greener compared to what? Greener compared to who? Greener compared, what are you doing greener than people were doing before? So you need to be very specific on what you're doing. And these are very broad claims. Eco-friendly is the same. Water-free, again, same idea as the zero waste. You've used water to create your cosmetics. You use water to make your formula, to make your ingredients down the line, not necessarily you, but your supplier. So you can't really claim water free. You say using less water. We could say waterless, but is waterless understood as water free, meaning like no use of water at all? Because even when the consumer is going to use your product, they're going to use water to use your soap, wash their hair, etc. So how is it going to work? So it's not going to be working really well. Biodegradable, compostable. Today it's completely prohibited in Europe to use that language because it's misleading. Because people think that if you have a biodegradable packaging, you can just ditch it by the window in the forest or wherever, and then it will be degrading. It will be degrading. There won't be any plastic left over, but it will take like maybe 3 years' time. And oftentimes, all of this packaging, because they are heavy wall, they are very thick. They're not like a piece of paper. They're much thicker than that, meaning that it will take time for them to degrade. And oftentimes, they need to use industrial composter to do this. So you can't just make this kind of claim. You have to explain what it means, because consumers don't really know what it is. And also, you need to make sure that the end of life will be taken into consideration by the consumer, and they will know what to ditch the product. Recyclable, same idea. Not everything is recyclable today. Even though you claim to be making your product recyclable, not everything will be recycled today. So you can't really make these claims. Going forward, green claims and when to use them. I'm going to give you an insight of what is the green claim codes and basically what is the scope of a green claim. The environmental claim scope is considered an environmental claim. The meaning of any term used, anything used on your website, on your packaging, and everything can be considered a claim. So anybody that doesn't agree with you can take you to court for this. Take you to court and claim that you are misleading or you're doing greenwashing. Any qualification or explanation of what is said, any evidence that support those claims, the information that is not included or hidden, or the colors, pictures, or logo used, or the overall presentation. Everything that you do to present your brand in a green way can be considered an environmental claim. So make sure that whether it's explicit or implicit, it can be taken against you. So be careful of what you say, what you use, and how you claim your product. Remember, right now there is I don't know if you're aware, but there's a class action against Sephora in the US, about the term clean at Sephora. Consumers are really wondering whether this is a proper claim, this is a scientific claim or not, and it's not. It's just a marketing claim. So they are coming against Sephora because they don't think this is fair for them to use this type of claims. So what you should look for, what you should do when you do an environmental claim. You should be truthful and accurate. Whatever you say, be very specific and be very clear. And measure, give measures, give indication, give figures, explain what you do and why, and be clear and unambiguous. Be super specific. Like, don't say we're saving water by we have saved water because we reduced the number of water in our formula by 10%. I don't know, X percentage. We are using less virgin material because we use X percentage of this material into our packaging. Moving forward, we're going to do this. Be very specific. Give numbers, figures. Be super transparent. And do not omit or hide an important fact. Let's say that you move to non-virgin material, but then the material that you're using is, let's say, I don't know, recycled aluminum. I don't know, whatever material you use. But then you hide the fact that recycling this type of material is going to cost more energy than actually using virgin material. So, again, sustainability is not silver bullet. So ask your supplier, ask everybody, and go to the platform or resource as well. Read everything you can to understand what sustainability means, because Something that may seem simple is actually not that simple, and maybe it could be a counterintuitive action that you've done. Compare goods or services that are comparable. Let's say that you compare, like, I'm using this plastic right now. Before I was using that type of plastic, and we reduce by this and this. If you change from 30 ml to 20 ml or whatever, then doesn't make sense. And again, if you compare with your competitors, they're doing this and we're doing that. If you compare aluminum with glass or glass with plastic or whatever, it doesn't make sense because it's not the same material. So you can't say really that. You have to make sure that you measure things that are comparable. Consider the full life cycle of the product. And if anything, I think this is the most important part of your claim. Because people talk about, let's say, when you talk about zero waste and this kind of impact of the product on the market, making product uses energy, water, anything. And so you can't say that your product is waterless or water-free, because at some point in the life cycle of your product, we are going to use water. So that's why whenever you make a green claim, make sure that you take into consideration the entire life cycle of the product. And also make sure that whatever you say can be substantiated, proven. You need to prove what you are saying. Show figures, demonstrate, I don't know, if you have a report or anything, just show that and explain to them what you are doing. So the do's and don'ts of a marketing claim. So these are a few examples of what you should say in terms of marketing claims. So as I said, I keep saying this, but zero waste, instead of this, try to say less waste or waste reduction. And you explain what type of waste you have reduced. Like, we are not using this anymore, we're using that type of bottle. So then we reduce the waste by X percentage or whatever it is, but just explain your actions in detail. Then reusable packaging. Partly reusable, partly refillable, because you know that in your packaging, whatever you use, let's say, like, if you have a reusable packaging, but because it's like not a rinse-off product, but you're going to use again, you need to change the pump, then this pump is not reusable technically, so you have to ditch it. You see, so make sure that it makes sense. So for consumers, like reusable packaging, partly refillable, explain exactly what is refillable and how to use to refill or reuse your product. Same for recyclable packaging. You can't really claim that your packaging is recyclable if it's only partly recyclable. Even if you built it to be recyclable, you can't really technically make sure that it's recyclable, especially if you sell your brand globally. So you have to explain packaging partly recyclable. We've built this packaging to be fully recyclable, but we cannot guarantee that locally this packaging is going to be recycled. So check locally whether you can recycle this packaging. And if you want to claim to be fully recyclable, maybe you need to organize a closed loop system where people send back their packaging to you and then you can recycle them. Another example here is the recommendation from the FTC Green Guides, where they say if recycling facilities for a product are not available to at least 60% of consumers or communities, a marketer should say this product may not be recyclable in your area. You see, so that's why if you want to claim recyclability or even partly recyclable, you need to have 60% of your consumers that be able to recycle in their area. And you can't know that. If you sell globally, there's no way you can have this type of information that you can guarantee that 60% of your consumers will be able to recycle. You can't really. Then the other recommendation is, like, if it's only available to a few people, then this product is recyclable only in a few communities that have appropriate recycling programs. You need to be very specific. Don't greenwash people. Don't tell them that your product is miracle when it is not. It's really complex, I know, but this is the way to go. And then, so the key takeaways from this presentation is that product should be promoted in their entirety. CO2 impact must be communicated with a full life cycle in mind, from sourcing, manufacturing, distribution, up to usage and discarding. This is really, really, really important. And you need to promote a more conscious consumption as well. We don't really say that, but I think we need to start saying this: buy less, use less, reduce water usage, and make sure that whatever you buy, whatever you create, is needed for the consumer. This is the first question I ask brand. Do we need your product on the market? What is it made for? Is it really necessary? This is the first question you should ask yourself as a product development. Then the other question that we have is like, when it comes to packaging, marketing claims must indicate how to discard the product. And it's so true now because it's in the regulation in France, where you have to be very specific. You have to indicate like a box at the end, at the bottom of your packaging, where with indicating the type of material and where to recycle the product. So it's really important right now. It's technically, you have to do that. And another, in conclusion, we wanted to give you the 3 steps to avoid greenwashing. So is your claim under the green or environmental claim scope? Make sure that whatever you say, try to avoid it by just talking about the product safety, etc., and maybe not much on environmental claims if you're not sure about the scope and about the impact it's going to have. Look at the claim criteria, look at the purpose, and whether your claim criteria are really trustful, accurate, specific. Make sure that whatever you do is specific. And then does your claim include the full life cycle of the product? You need to really make sure that full life cycle is considered in your product. All right, I know this is very complex topic, and I know we can't give you all the answers in one time. So honestly, just feel free to get in touch with me, ask questions or anything, and I'll be happy to answer you. And honestly, browse the website resources as well. I've created that as a resource for cosmetics marketing managers to make sure that they develop products that are really sustainable and that we don't do greenwashing. So feel free to browse the website, pop in your email. You can have the free newsletter that I sent every 2 weeks on Friday, and ask me any question. Honestly, the more we answer questions, the more we help this world, and the better it is for the future. Thank you very much, Jen, for inviting me again. Thank you for this presentation, and thank you. Feel free to ask me a question. Bye-bye.